Alright then, welcome to... Is this the fourth Drunken Rambles? I think it actually might be the fourth one. Yeah, slightly different this time because I'm not actually drinking alcohol as we speak, or as I speak and you listen. I'm on just plain Coke at the moment, which I will explain to you why this is the last Coke that I'm going to be having for quite some time in a little bit. But as the rest of the Drunken Rambles go, this is unedited, and it is a case of just going through the news and discussing what's in the news at the moment and all that kind of stuff. Which is actually quite a fun thing to do for stress relief, which is why I'm doing one now. I should probably explain to you why I'm not drinking as such, because this is my second night after... I can't even describe it to you. Like, since just before Christmas 2013, I have drank so much. There's been so many nights out, and it's just been unbelievable. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm just like, do you know what? I sort of need to go on a little bit of a detox here. My most recent one was last Friday and Saturday. I was drinking on both nights, got a little bit drunk on both nights, and you know, it's one of them things. Like I have had a really good time when I've been drinking, but there does come a time when it's like, okay, enough is enough with the drinking. So there we go. Right. So as I said before, this is going to be my last Coke for quite a while. Even though I only bought this the other night, it has Christmas on it. So thank you, Tesco, for selling your Christmas stock in the middle of January. Actually, towards the end of January. But there's a really good reason that I'm sort of abandoning Coke, and in a shock announcement, I'm also giving up McDonald's. Like, this isn't even a health thing. This is purely me having objections to the companies. And for those of you that don't know, the companies, both Coca-Cola and McDonald's, are some of the main sponsors of the Winter Olympics, which is happening over in Russia at the moment. Now, there is more than one reason that I'm against Russia hosting the Olympics in any way. I mean, obviously, the first thing, and I have spoken about this in videos before, is to do with the way that they host their gay rights at the moment. And I call them gay rights very loosely because they're not right at all. Basically, if you are completely new to this, where have you been? But President Putin has basically said, I think the law is defined as gay propaganda towards children is now illegal or something like that. That basically kind of outlaws being gay, because, you know, two men can't hold hands walking down any street in Russia, because that could be seen by a child, and that would be classed as gay propaganda. It's not only bad enough that that law has been brought in, part of one of a few, but it's also disgusting how gay people have actually been treated. I know that Putin and the rest of his gang like to kind of play it down a little bit. You only need to spend 5 minutes on YouTube and you will easily come across a video of a gay person, or even a suspected gay person, getting tormented in one way or another. When the laws first came in, especially the most recent one, when that first came in, there was a few deaths over it, and I'm more than sure the deaths are still happening. And we're not just talking about, like, you know, people being shot or something like that. This is torture that we're talking about, and there is video evidence of it. It's disgusting that the Olympic Committee are going into Russia anyway. Look at Tom Daley, for example. You know, he's recently come out, and I have issues with him anyway. Not exactly with him, but kind of about... Anyway. But he's going to be going over there, and it's like, well, hang on, how is he safe? You know? I don't really get that. But yeah, that's one of the things. The other thing, and it kind of only dawned on me earlier on, and I know that the UK and America are so guilty of this, but Russia at the moment is sort of bracing itself for there being terrorist attacks at the Winter Olympics. Fair enough. You know, when we in the UK had the Olympics over here, it was said quite a few times there could be terrorist attacks that happened in London, like anywhere in London. And I don't know if it got put on world news. It's certainly news that I found out about, but there was like blocks of flats that people were living in, and the army were putting machinery on the top of the buildings and like having 24-hour security, like literally ready to kill people. You know, I kind of think, okay, yeah, if there is a threat of terror, then okay, whatever. But Russia has done these things, which is anti-terrorism, in which they kill people with no warning. And it's like, well, hang on, who's the terrorist here? I mean, there was a video that I watched not that long ago, fascinating video, can't even remember where it is online, and it's from a film that I've never seen. I've only seen this little clip of it, and it's basically a woman in a lecture, and she's saying about how, you know, like how, you know, these countries in the East where all of these terrorists come from, you know, they have problems and they come over to our countries and they blow them up. Well, why is that? And it took a man from that region to actually say, do you know what? If you're referring to like how many people died in 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down and the buildings, but like the number of people that died, like, was, what was it, like 3,000, 4,000? And then look at the number of people that have died since America and the UK, and you know, we've all sent our own armies over there. Well, how many innocent people have died over there? Like, it's a hell of a lot more. So it kind of dawned on me before, and I was like, do you know what, actually, we call these anti-terrorist attacks and all that kind of stuff, but that makes us the terrorists. And yes, I refer to the UK in that as well. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, I've had my eyes open so much over the past year with some of the stuff that I've found out, and it's like, well, actually, we're kind of worse than them in every sense. Anyway, that is besides the point. The Olympics are being sponsored by all these big branded companies like McDonald's and Coca-Cola and that sort of thing. Both of these companies have these stances on gay rights and how, you know, they stand for gay rights, and it's very important for everyone to be treated equally and everything like that. Well, why are you supporting these activities in a country where people are at risk because of their sexuality? You know, if you want people to be treated equally, surely in your sponsorship that should also come along. You know, I mean, I'm trying to think of a company at the moment. Walmart, big supporter of gay rights. Couple of dodgy goings on in the past, but what else is there? I don't know. There's loads of companies that are actively supportive of the gay community, the whole LGBT, supportive of that. There's companies that aren't supportive of that, despite what they say on their Twitter and their Facebook and everything like that. Perfect example for in the UK, Domino's Pizza. We all know Domino's Pizza, fucking most expensive pizza in the world. Domino's Pizza, have a look at where their profits go. You know, the main owner of Domino's Pizza has given money in America to organisations which are against gay rights. So why would you go and give them money if you support gay rights? Because you're giving him the money to give to anti-gay rights groups. You see where I'm going with this. So Coca-Cola and McDonald's are off my list of companies that I will be using in the future. It's not a boycott that I'm encouraging, it's just kind of my own little protest about this. It's something that I do feel very strongly about, having seen some of the videos. I think I've even mentioned about it on this channel once already, about the gay beatings, and it's still going on, and in a way these companies are being seen to support it. So no, fuck them. I'm off them. Pepsi, I will go for it because PepsiCo aren't supporting this kind of shit. And who else is there for McDonald's? You got like Subway, you've got KFC, basically Burger King as well. You can replace McDonald's easily enough. Like you can get kind of better food actually at Burger King. Anyway, so that's my thing. This is my last Coke, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not Coca-Cola. Anyway, okay, so it's time for us to now look through the news, see what's in the news, and have a bit of a rant about it. One of the most striking stories at the moment is that the Royal Bank of Scotland, or RBS as they prefer to be known now, faces £8 billion in full year losses. Really? RBS over here, because I don't think they are in any other country actually. RBS is, I don't know, what's the divide? It's owned quite a lot by the taxpayer, and there are still issues in the banking system, all over the banking system. You know, and by no means am I able to turn around and say at the moment, yes, that we are out of the recession, or that things are even looking remotely like we're out of the recession. But what I am saying is, with the banks, there is still reform that needs to happen, and literally needs to happen overnight, and it's just not happening. One thing that could possibly save them quite a big chunk out of this 8 billion loss is to do with the managers' bonuses. I mean, at the end of the day, look at it this way, right? The bonuses got paid, a couple of months ago at RBS. They're now posting an £8 billion loss. If I was in a job, say I was working at McDonald's, and I was on a couple of shifts, and I accidentally lost them £8 billion worth of food, I would probably lose my job over that. These people aren't. These people are paid bonuses, which the bonus alone is more than my income for the year. It's more than the average person's income for the year, and that's just a bonus. You've then got the regular wage on top, and there's quite a few bonuses that happen per year. The bonuses are supposed to be paid on the bank's performance, and I'm sorry, but an £8 billion loss is not performing. Me personally, as a taxpayer, I would be quite willing to see all of the management cleared out at the bank and just start the bank over. You know, get new management in, new ideas, get the bank fucking working. Because the way it is at the moment, it's not. It's losing the taxpayer money, and it's money that we can't afford to lose. Like, really can't afford to lose. If we're going to face more cuts to things like public services, public transport, the benefit system, all these sorts of things, if we're going to have more cuts put on us, well, I'm sorry, the banks and the bankers need to have some cuts put on them, because this is unacceptable. It's an unacceptable performance for a bank to be losing that amount of money, but it's unacceptable that the taxpayers should be expected just to pick up the bill yet again, while they're still paid these huge bonuses. It's fucking bullshit. So that's my rant about that there just needs to be this massive thing, the reform that happens. Okay, another story in the news is that there are ministers in the Houses of Parliament at the moment in the UK, which who are facing quite a bit of anger over the recent flooding which has happened in the UK. Now, I must kind of point this out. Yes, the UK has had flooding, and yes, it is really bad for people who have been in those affected areas, and it is really bad. But I've got to say, we kind of have got it off a little bit easy this winter. I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, and it's like, well, hang on, how the fuck are you watching me? Your house is supposed to be still flooded. But it's like, we haven't had minus 50 to contend with, you know, so it could have been worse for us. But anyway, so this flooding has basically, I think it has actually cost lives, hasn't it? Have people died in this? I think there has. But it's kind of just shown that the UK, again, can't cope with weather. Really can't cope with weather. Earlier on in 2013, during the summer months, we had to close our schools because the schools were too hot. I still had to go to school when it's hot. I'm really sorry. Back in the 90s, I still had to go to school. Um, we had to close the schools and quite a few places because it was too hot, and there wasn't air conditioning in these buildings. But we can't afford to put the air conditioning in, so it's going to close the schools. Um, you have it during the winter, like, oh my god, there's half a centimetre of snow, let's close the fucking country down. With the wind, really, we can't cope with a bit of wind. Rain floods us. We can't cope with any weather in the United Kingdom. I'm sorry, but it's true. Um, with the flooding thing, though, just on that, we're supposed to have these flood defences all the way throughout the UK, and some of these systems that we've got are literally hundreds of years old. Like, there's, I can't remember what beach it is near me, but you can actually see the old wooden panelling that is sort of a bit out to sea, but like the massive waves that crash up against it, and you're like, that's made of wood that's had woodworm longer than humanity has had life. You know, there is a lot of improvements that needs to happen to the system. Unfortunately, the UK, again, financially, is going through all these budget cuts and everything. So it's like, well, the council are going to just turn around and go, we can't afford this. And the government are going to go, we can't afford this. So they'd rather just, cover the insurance claims, and there we go, problem solved. Me personally, I would be really angry if I was caught up in these floods, which I kind of don't think I would be in a first floor flat, but you never know. But you've got to see it from their point of view. Like, people have lost literally everything: businesses, homes, a lifetime of memories, all that kind of stuff gone, and in some cases overnight. The flooding has been really bad in some areas as well, and it's just shown a fact that we can't cope. I think the other thing is as well, one of the other things that happened a lot with the flooding was obviously, power lines come down and all that kind of stuff, and I think was it just before and sort of over Christmas, a lot of people were without power. And this is something, and you're like, it's 2000 well, it was 2013 at the time, it's 2014 now, but it's like, hang on, in this day and age, like, people are having to wait days for the power to be put back on. Like, really? And it's nothing against the engineers that went out into all these, difficult areas and, tried to put power back on. They worked their asses off, and, well done to them. But my problem is with these energy firms, they were so slow to react on this. And I think at first, they did sort of apologise for it and said, yeah, actually, we could have done a little bit more. And it's like, well, hang on, why didn't you do a little bit more? Like, these are customers of yours, like, you get the power back on. But yeah, anyway, so that was a bit of a drama. And that's on the that's over the flooding. So there we go. So that's kind of the top bit of news for at the moment for me to rant about. One of the things which is coming up, which I'm seeing so much more about on my Facebook, is to do with Scotland and the Scottish independence and everything like that, right? Okay, if I have any viewers that don't know about this already, basically the United Kingdom is made up of different countries. So you've got England, Wales, Northern Ireland, not the whole of Ireland, don't ask, and Scotland. Scotland wants to become independent from the United Kingdom. It literally just wants to be Scotland. There is quite a debate going on about this at the moment, because you've got people on one side going, Scotland can't afford to go independent, they don't pay enough in taxes, and they get free university things, and the rest of the UK doesn't, and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, hang on, if it's difficult for me to try and decide where I'm at, because if Scotland did go independent, I would want them to go at it and succeed. Like, I would be really supportive of them, and I would be watching like a hawk to being like, please work. But I do have to look at things like how it is in the United Kingdom, well, in parts of the United Kingdom, compared to how it would be in Scotland should they get independence. You know, like uh, if they go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes them medication, at the moment, my understanding is at the moment that they get that medication for free. In England, we don't. We have to pay. What did it go up to? I think it's about £8 per item on this list. Okay, now fair enough. That £8 in most cases comes nowhere near to how much the medication is actually worth. Like the National Health Service does pay for quite a bit in the medication sense. If Scotland was to go independent, obviously they're going to have to pick up the bill themselves. Could they still afford to do that? I don't know. I've not looked at the ins and outs of the figures and all that kind of thing, but the only thing I can say is if you're going to turn around and make a statement about Scotland going independent and you're just going to say Scotland shouldn't go independent, they can't afford it, look into it. Like, seriously give it consideration. Like, can Scotland actually afford this? You're like, how much was their income in taxes and all that kind of stuff? Try and work it out. There is a lot, and I mean a lot at the moment, of uneducated sort of guesses of how things would be and how things would turn out, and it's both in a negative and a positive way that people are thinking about this at the moment. I think this is something, you know, I think it goes to voting next year in 2015. It could well be this year. Don't quote me on it. I really don't know much about this, but my personal opinion on this is that if they go and do it, I want them to go and succeed in doing it, and I want it to work out for them. But I don't know. But yeah, that's my kind of thing on it. So yeah, let us know what you think. What about Scotland going independent? What about that, hey? But yeah, so thank you guys for watching and listening to me ramble again. I will be doing more videos at some point in the future because I'm now in HD, in case people didn't know. It's a HD webcam. And yeah, that's all fun. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon.